Pinched my arm so hard it bruised, because if I fell asleep in the NICU, a baby could die. My first overnight shift. The charge nurse Diane had pinned my student badge to my scrubs and pointed me at Bay 4. Premature girl, 3 pounds. The mom hadn't moved from the incubator in 4 days. 12 hours in, and the NICU was warm and quiet, and my body was shutting down. I pinched my arm. I paced the room. I splashed water on my face. I dropped back in the chair, and my eyelids dragged down, and my head tipped forward, and the beeps dissolved into nothing. Every alarm in the bay screamed at once. I fell out of the chair and hit the floor and scrambled to the incubator, and the baby was gray. I slammed the call button so hard the plastic cracked. Diane, the charge nurse, sprinted in. Then Dr. Linden, head of pediatrics, shoved past me so hard my elbow cracked against the doorframe. He ripped the curtain shut. Everyone out. I shoved back toward the incubator. I can help. He grabbed my arm and threw me into the hallway. Out. The mom was in a wheelchair next to me, clawing at the armrests. I grabbed the handles and she fought me. Let me in there. They're working on her. I'd spent 12 hours with this woman. She told me about the emergency delivery and the surgery while I checked her daughter's vitals every 30 minutes. She held up her phone and showed me a video of the nursery at home, a crib she'd hammered together herself, a mobile of paper stars she'd cut by hand and strung from the ceiling. I made those the night before she came. At midnight, I'd lifted the baby onto her chest for skin to skin, and she'd sobbed into my shoulder so quietly, it barely made a sound. She's warm. She's so warm. You promise me she's okay? I'd wrapped them both in the hospital blanket, white cotton with blue stripes. I promise. She squeezed my hands so hard her rings dug into my skin, and I squeezed back harder. Now she was screaming in a wheelchair, and I was gripping the handles so hard the rubber peeled under my fingers. 15 minutes of pacing the hallway and gripping the wheelchair handles. Linden came out and crouched in front of her. I'm so sorry. She screamed so loud the monitors in the next bay alarmed. She collapsed out of the wheelchair, and I dropped beside her and held her on the tile while she screamed. 5 minutes before the alarms, I'd checked the vitals. Heart rate 142, oxygen 96. I'd tapped the screen to make sure. It was current and everything was solid. Dread flooded me, and I shoved off the floor and pushed past Linden and threw the curtain open. The bay was empty, and I stumbled backward into the curtain. Not just the baby, the incubator, the monitors, the blue-striped blanket, all of it scrubbed and removed in under an hour. I ripped open the cabinet under the bay. Empty. I checked every bay on the floor. I grabbed Diane by both arms. Where's the baby? Dr. Linden handles post-mortem transfers. There's nothing to transfer. She's gone. I sprinted to the elevator and punched the basement button and shoved through the morgue doors. The tech checked his log. No infant tonight. A baby died on my floor. Nothing came through. I slammed both hands on his desk so hard his sandwich jumped. Check again. Check the coolers. Check every room in this basement. Lady, I've been sitting here since midnight. Nothing came in and nothing went out. I shoved past him and threw open every cooler door in the morgue myself. Empty, empty, empty. I sprinted back upstairs and kicked Linden's office door open so hard it bounced off the wall. He jumped. The baby isn't in the morgue. The vitals were stable 5 minutes before the alarms. You fell asleep. You missed a decline. It happens. The monitor would have alarmed at the first sign of decline, not flatlined with no warning. I grabbed the edge of his desk. Where's the body? He stood up slowly, and the warmth drained out of his face. You're a student on your first night. Go home before you make this worse for yourself. Make it worse? A baby disappeared and you're telling me to go home? He picked up his phone. Security. I shoved past him to the nurse's station and pulled up the NICU log. Bay 4, deceased. No death certificate, no morgue transfer. I scrolled back. 2 more babies in 2 years. Same unit, same doctor, same missing paperwork. I shoved back from the desk because I'd been adopted from this same hospital. Same NICU. The horror crept up my spine. I photographed every screen. A security guard grabbed my shoulder. Administrator's office. Now. Linden was standing next to the administrator. She fell asleep during monitoring and may have caused the infant's death. Her program has been notified. The fury was choking me. I slammed my hands on his desk. I did not cause that death. The vitals were stable and the body is gone from the morgue. Run the security cameras. Check the hallway footage from 3 a.m. You'll see where that baby actually went. The administrator glanced at Linden. Linden shook his head once, almost invisible, but I saw it. Security will escort you out. Diane was in the hallway. I grabbed her arm. Diane, you know me. She pulled away, and the rejection hit me like a punch. You fell asleep, and a baby died. A nurse crossed to the other side of the corridor. They took my badge and walked me out. I threw myself into my car and pounded the steering wheel until my palms throbbed. I called the police non-emergency line and told them a baby vanished from the NICU with no death certificate and no body in the morgue. The dispatcher asked if I was a family member. I said no. She said the hospital handled handles its own protocols and suggested I contact patient services. I threw the phone onto the passenger seat and screamed until my throat was raw. I went back inside to the family room. The mom was awake, hollow. She grabbed my hand the second I came through the door. Did they find her? I crouched next to her wheelchair. The body isn't in the morgue. There's no death certificate. I don't think she's dead. The mom's grip tightened so hard my bones ached. What are you saying? I'm saying something is very wrong and I'm going to figure out what. Everyone is telling me you fell asleep and my baby died because of you. I know what they're telling you. Did you fall asleep? Yes, for 3 minutes. But the vitals were stable when I checked and the monitor would have caught any change. She grabbed my chin and turned my face toward hers. I believe you. 3 words. The only person on earth willing to say them. Find my baby. I was terrified to go back into that building, but I'd made a promise to the only person who believed me. Midnight. I held Diane's copied badge barcode against the scanner and the staff door clicked open. I climbed the stairs and crept past the nurse's station with my hood up. A nurse glanced and I threw myself behind a supply cart and crawled past on my hands and knees. East corridor, renovation, no access. Plastic sheeting, but the dust had fresh footprints. I pushed through and stopped. The air was warm and smelled like formula, not construction. Emergency lights every 20 feet with darkness between them. I turned a corner and froze, a baby crying. I pressed against the wall and held my breath. I'd listened to that cry for 12 hours. Bay 4's baby. Bay 4's baby was alive behind these walls. Desperate hope surged through me, and I followed the sound through the dark to a set of double doors. I pushed through. A clean, bright room, 3 bassinets, monitors, formula in a fridge, a hidden nursery inside the renovation wing. First bassinet, a baby boy with a bracelet that didn't match any hospital system she'd ever seen. A folder clipped to the side with transfer paperwork already filled out. Second, a girl, maybe 3 months old, with a laminated card listing a family name, an out-of-state address, and a 6-figure number. A 6-figure number. These babies had price tags. Third, a tiny girl wrapped in a white blanket with blue stripes. I scooped her up and she weighed nothing, and she was warm and alive, and my knees buckled, and the relief was so fierce I almost dropped. A door opened behind me. Linden, street clothes, leather bag. Put the baby down. She's alive. You told that woman her daughter was dead. He lunged for the baby, and I spun away, and he caught my scrubs, and the fabric ripped, and I shoved him so hard he crashed into the counter and bottles shattered. He slammed a panel on the wall. Doors locked across the wing. He grabbed the phone, and his voice came through the PA, calm and steady. Code pink. Unauthorized person with an infant. This individual fell asleep, and an infant died under her care. She was terminated and has returned. She is dangerous and mentally unstable. He hung up. Every guard in this building thinks you killed a baby and came back for another one. Every nurse, every doctor, the whole hospital is looking for a mentally unstable girl who murdered an infant. Nobody is going to help you. Nobody is going to believe you. You're going to hand me that baby and walk out of here and keep your mouth shut, or you're going to spend the night in a cell. I could see that woman collapsing out of her wheelchair. I could hear the sound she made. I whispered, I promised, into the baby's hair.
Oh, this holiday. Wow, there are so many Abu Dhabi do's. Zayed National Museum, my
And I ran. Double doors, locked. Side door, locked. Supply closet, unlocked. I ducked in and crouched in the dark, shaking with terror with the baby against my chest. Boots pounded in the hallway. My whole body clenched. Check every room. Handles rattled closer and closer. My door handle rattled. The guard was breathing on the other side. The baby whimpered, and I pressed my hand gently over her mouth, and my heart was slamming so hard I was sure he could hear it through the door. He rattled the handle again. Harder. Locked. His partner. Skip it. Check the next swing. His boots faded. I counted to 10 before I exhaled. I cracked the door and sprinted down the corridor. A security guard turned the corner, and the fear jolted through me, and I threw myself behind a laundry cart, and he walked past so close I could smell his cologne. Elevator dead. Linden killed the power. Fire exit at the end of the hall with the push bar zip-tied shut. I bit through the first tie, and my teeth ached. Twisted the second until it cut into my fingers and snapped. The third wouldn't give. Boots behind me, getting closer. I yanked so hard the plastic sliced my palm open, and it snapped, and the door flew open, and the alarm screamed, and I sprinted through with the baby tucked inside my scrub top against my skin. Second floor main hospital. A nurse at the station reached for the phone. That's the code pink. He's lying. This baby was declared dead and she's alive. There are 2 more in a hidden room in the renovation wing. Check Bay 4. No death certificate, no transfer. If I'm wrong, you lose nothing. If I'm right, babies need help. She hesitated. Something in my face landed. She pulled her hand back. Bay 4, she repeated quietly. I nodded and ran. 2 guards rounded the corner. A third from behind. I juked through double doors and ducked into an empty room and locked it and climbed onto the bed and shoved a ceiling tile up and hoisted myself into the ceiling, one-armed. I crawled on my elbows with the baby pressed against my ribs and her heartbeat racing against mine. A tile shifted and dust rained down. She's gone! I kept crawling and dropped through a bathroom tile, and my foot caught the edge of the sink and my ankle rolled sideways, and I crashed to the floor with the baby screaming against my chest and pain shooting up my leg so sharp my vision went white. I hauled myself up on the towel rack. 1 bar on my phone. I sent every photo to the mom, to Diane, to 911. Hidden nursery renovation wing, 3 babies alive, Dr. Linden taking them. I am the student nurse. I am not dangerous. Sent. I half ran toward the lobby. 2 guards between me and the door. Lyndon's voice on every radio. Do not let her leave. I grabbed a crash cart and ran behind it and shoved it at the guards, and supplies exploded and they dove sideways, and the terror was electric, and I sprinted through the gap, and Lyndon's voice crackled, "Stop her!" and the automatic doors started to close. Someone had hit the lockdown button, and pure adrenaline shot through me, and I threw myself sideways through the narrowing gap, and the doors caught my backpack, and I ripped free, and the night air hit my face, and I ran across the parking lot, and my legs gave out, and I slid down my car, holding the baby and sobbing. The first officers came for me, guns drawn. "Put the baby down. She's not stolen. She's rescued. Check your phones." An officer checked with dispatch. His face changed. Searched the renovation wing. They found the room, the bassinets, the laminated cards. They found Lyndon in the parking garage with a leather bag and a plane ticket. He pointed at me. She fell asleep and a baby died. She was fired. She broke in and took a patient. I screamed from the ground. "I'm a student on her first night and I fell asleep for 3 minutes, and you've been taking babies for 20 years. He was calm in an expensive coat. I was a teenager in ripped scrubs, bleeding from the wrists. The dread was suffocating because for 10 seconds, I thought they were going to believe him. An officer held up the laminated card. "Then why does this bassinet have a price tag?" Lyndon's hand started shaking. "You don't understand. Turn around. I'm a doctor. Turn around." They cuffed him against a cruiser, and his expensive coat bunched around the handcuffs, and he looked small for the first time. The NICU mom was 20 feet away. She shoved out of her wheelchair and ran barefoot across the asphalt and screamed, "You told me my baby was dead!" so loud every cop in the lot flinched. I placed the baby in her arms, and her knees buckled, and she sank to the ground and pressed her daughter against her face and rocked, sobbing, "They told me you were gone!" And the baby's hand found her chin and curled around it, and the mom laughed through the tears because her daughter was grabbing her face and she was alive. The blue striped blanket was still wrapped around her, the same one I'd tucked around them both 12 hours ago. She pulled me down and held me and the baby between us. "You promised." I pressed my face into her shoulder. "I promised." The nurse from the second floor found me. "I checked Bay 4. No death certificate. No transfer." She squeezed my hand. I almost didn't check. Diane found me and saw her stolen badge still clipped to my scrubs, and her hand flew to her mouth and she started crying. "You trained me well enough to catch it," I told her. "That counts." A detective pulled me aside. Routine questions, name, age, how I found the nursery. Then he stopped writing. "This is going to sound strange. Where were you born?" "Here, this hospital." "Were you adopted?" My stomach dropped. "Yes." The panic hit me before I understood why. He turned his laptop toward me. Placement records going back 20 years. He pointed at the very first entry. A date, my birthday, a hospital, this hospital, a family name, my family. I shoved backwards so hard I hit the cruiser. "That's me." He nodded slowly. "Your adoption was processed through Dr. Lyndon. The birth mother was told you didn't survive. The blanket in the nursery. The same blue stripes as my baby photo on the mantle at home. The record starting the year I was born. It all clicked at once, and the horror was so bottomless I couldn't breathe because I was baby number 1. The first baby he ever took from a mother's arms. The nursery I'd crawled through tonight was the same nursery I'd been stolen from 20 years ago. Somewhere out there, a woman was told her newborn daughter died. She grieved me. She might still be grieving me right now. She might have built a nursery with paper stars and a crib she made with her own hands, just like the mom I just saved. And I'd been alive the whole time, 3 zip codes away, calling someone else mom. The NICU mom was still on the ground holding her daughter. She looked up at me and mouthed, "Thank you." And I mouthed, "I promised." And the sun was coming up behind the hospital. My first shift was over, but I wasn't done, because somewhere out there was a woman who'd been mourning me for 20 years, and she deserved to know I was alive.
Always innovating to keep pets healthy as long as possible. Hills. Science does more.
Pointed at her now. I stepped right up to her. "Smile for the camera."